won't say that we will completely replace the human side of it, but I do think that this, alongside the already human employees on site, can make it even more efficient to those companies and to those chains. And it could open doors that not been opened before.
Welcome to the second season of The Modern Hotelier, the fastest growing hospitality podcast. Both hosts were named top 100 most powerful people in hospitality and voted fourth most popular podcast by the International Hospitality Institute. Each episode will get to know an industry expert and we'll discuss the latest trends in hospitality to help you, the modern hotelier. Welcome to The Modern Hotelier. I'm your host, David Malilly.
And I'm your co-host, Steve Karen.
And I'm the producer, John Boomhofer. This episode is sponsored by Growth Advisors International Network, the leading travel and hospitality innovation and growth advisory firm. GAIN is a global collective of seasoned C-level commercial, tech, operations, finance, and marketing executives, delivering an advisory platform focused on tactical and actionable solutions to drive growth, industry impact, and intelligent commercial expansion for the travel, food service, and hospitality tech industry. From technology and product development reviews, commercial strategy and brand positioning, to sales leadership and international go-to-market advisory, GAIN provides a range of managed C-level advisory services and expertise to tech vendors, investor funds, and hospitality entities, and helps startups and scale-ups in attaining commercial momentum and the capital for their seed to series rounds and exits. For more information and to contact GAIN Advisors, head to gainadvisors.com.
Steve, who do we have on the program today?
Yeah, David. So for the first time on The Modern Hotelier, we have two guests at the same time. We're really excited to have Andre Smith and Marnix Locke with us today. They're the two co-founders of Holoconnects. You can see what Holoconnects is a little bit behind them, but we're going to dive more into that today. But welcome to the show, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
So we're going to go through a couple areas. We're going to ask you some random questions, get to know you a little bit better, talk about the company and your careers and how you got to where you're at, and then we're going to get your thoughts on the industry. All right. So
perfect.
So here we go. So first question is for each of you to answer. Are you a morning or a night person?
I'm definitely a morning person. I have three little children, so they are like waking me up at 6 a.m. So at 10 a.m. I need to go to bed.
Yeah, so I'm in the transition of being a more morning person. So I was more like an evening night person. I've also got kids, so you need to wake up early up in the morning.
Okay. What is the most used emoji on your phone?
Ooh, I don't really do emojis, but I do think it's probably a big laugh, because the life is just one big laugh, I think.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
The laugh with the tears, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So
Same here.
Who's your-
Yeah.
Who's your favorite band or singer?
Wow. I think these days I listen the most to Burna Boy, which is an artist coming out of Nigeria. Probably you have both the same answers because we're quite the same guy in another jacket. But for me, I think it's Burna Boy right now.
Yeah, Burna Boy. Listen a lot to African music. My roots are also from Africa. But my all-time favorite artist, I must say Michael Jackson. It's
Okay, cool.
cliche, but yeah.
Yeah, good answer. Have either of you been told that you look like somebody famous, and who was it?
No, not like somebody famous. People often tell me, hey, they think I'm somebody else. So They say all kinds of names to me and they think that I'm the person, but not somebody famous. No.
No, not me either. There was only a rapper in the Netherlands that looked a little bit like me, but no.
Okay, all right. So if you had a time machine and you could go in the future or the past, which would it be and what year would you go to?
I will go to the past. What year would I go to? Maybe just before the birth of my daughter. And we'll still continue the same path, but then do a little bit of a change up in my investments.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. I think that's a nice one. I would definitely go to the future. and I think I would go like 1,000 years from now,
Wow.
because I see those series on Netflix where you have those alien planets where they get a look into the future, and with all sorts of thoughts about what the future could look like. Yeah, so I'm definitely curious about where we are as a civilization in 1,000 years.
Awesome.
Yeah,
I love
very
that.
curious about
I
that.
love that. Awesome. So now move on to the next section, which we just want to learn a little bit more about you guys, what makes you tick. So this one you both get to answer. Andre, we'll start with you, and then Marnix, you can go after. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in a very small village. We had like 5,000 inhabitants, I think. It's called Geldermalsen, which is a city next to where we are located as a company right now. I think it was good growing up there, not too much, not like a big city.
And Marnix, what about you?
So I grew up in the town that we also have our office, which is called Culemborg. It's all difficult to pronounce for you guys in English, but it was great growing up here, just in a good neighborhood, and great parents. I have 3 sisters who are all lovely. So grew up in a warm family. Yeah.
Awesome. How did growing up there shape you two?
Well, yeah, I grew up in a small city, like I said, like 5,000 inhabitants. I think from the moment I went to mid school, I think that's a little bit different than how that is structured in the US. But then I went to Culemborg, which I know Marnix for when we were like 13 years old. So basically all our lives we've known each other. But I do think that growing up in a very small village made me it was very important for me to have a big imagination and work with all sorts of things without too much distraction. And maybe that was the basis for thinking big and thinking outside of where I grew up, and that the world is much bigger and life is much bigger than that. So I think it was a good environment to grow up in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that also. But also I've studied later on in a bigger city, so which also opened doors. Also Andre studied in a bigger city, of course, but that also opened doors, and also to the imagination and to the creativity that you can get from maybe growing up in a smaller town. Enhanced the vision and enhanced the everything that you want to achieve.
Yeah. So what really drove you guys or made you become entrepreneurs? Were there other family members that you saw that they did something on their own, or what led you to kind of down this path of being an entrepreneur?
I think in my case, I know for sure it was my father. He had like a cleaning company. So when we were like 7, 8 years old, we always went from our school. We drove by the bike to the office. My mother was there working as well, and basically grew up in an environment where entrepreneurial activities were daily be done. And my father, we had like a lot of conversations about business models, about ideas, about how you could make from an idea something big. We always calculated what would be the cost, what you can earn about it, what you needed to be successful, and where you would go. I wouldn't say that my father was like a big entrepreneur, but I think that little seed, because of his vision and because the way he looked at things, I think he planted inside of my head, and that grew and that grew. So that's why I never actually worked for a boss. I think I did like 2 small jobs, and I was terrible working for a boss because I was really dreaming much bigger than what the reality could bring me that day. So from, I think at the age of 18, I tried 100 things just to become successful. And I think the last 3 years, I really found something that could make impact in numerous sectors and could really have value to society. So, yeah.
Yeah, for me, also my father is a big example, but not on the entrepreneurial side. In my younger years, he was working at a bank, but he was always working. He was a very hardworking person, always educating himself, doing different types of masters, doing work while having 4 children and having a wife, of course. And later on, after my study, he stopped working at the bank and he began working for himself. And then after my study, I started working with him. And that gave me inspiration to do something for myself also. But also in my younger years, my older sister is not per se entrepreneurial, but driving me to do something for myself because I couldn't handle hierarchy very good. So she said, okay, you need to go and work for yourself. So I think those two persons are my main reasons of being my own boss.
Got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. That's a good little background. We appreciate that. Now, find out a little bit more what you did before Holoconnect, and then we'll dig into Holoconnects here. So it sounds like you both had that entrepreneurial spirit. What types of either jobs or businesses did you both start before coming together at Holoconnects?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I did a paper round at 6 in the morning, which in 70% I just threw them away. No, that's already.
No, that's true.
I think that's true for like 50% of them. No, but I really learned working hard from a very young age. I mean, getting up at 5:30 when you're 12 years old and doing a paper round, ask for some discipline. And I think in that sense, by that time I did the paper round, I was already, it's like your own thing. You're planning your own route. So you're thinking about how can I be efficient? How can I end this task the fastest as I can? I think that's where it all started. And then, like I said, I did some jobs, 2 or 3 jobs for a boss, which I ended up within 2 months stopping it because I was already doing other things at the same time. And then, because my mother wanted me to be a doctor, so I went to the university to become a doctor. But after 1 year, that was a terrible mistake as well. That's when I started to really find my own path, and I started to do a university within business, which I did. I completed it in 10 years because after the second year, we did a minor, which was international entrepreneurship, and that's where I started my first company, which was basically like it was a product for schools that they could use in the gym lessons. And it's like some sort of feather, which is quite similar to badminton. But this was a bigger feather. You could use it with your hands as well as with your feet. It was good for your hand and eye coordination. So I made a whole program together with a friend of mine who is a teacher within gym lessons herself. And I sold those to different schools.
Was that Fuddle?
That was Fuddle, indeed. Yeah,
that was Fuddle. Okay,
check. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so it's good to know that what I'm talking about. It was Fuddle, indeed, which was. I thought I would be a millionaire within 1 year, and I had like a really big deal going on within I think 12 months, and that was for 200,000 of those Fuddles. And then the day they needed to pay the 50% down payment, they said, "Andre, we cannot do it." Because there are like animal feathers in it, and we can't use products that are literally coming from an animal. So I said to them, well, it's like a product. The chicken is already dead. The feathers will be thrown away, or they will be reused for a product that can stimulate children to go back on the street and play again. Why is that not an option? He said, well, it's just policies. We cannot do it, and we will not do it. So I have to cancel this order. I think that was a pivotal moment for me to really stop with that product, because replacing the feather with another product was just not an option, because then it would be too heavy to use. Sure. So that's when I stopped that initial company, and I did, I think, like 3 or 4 other things which were not something worth mentioning. But then I think I went 25. That's when I had my first child, Nora. She's now 7 years old. And that's when I really started to rethink that I need to make some money. And then I really literally started like call center jobs, just selling energy contracts. And that's where, because I was going to work there, the guy told me, hey, do you know other people that could work here? I said, yeah, I can do that. But then you need to hire them, because I'm going to start a recruitment agency. And then he left. And 1 week later, I had a recruitment agency, and I had 5 people there that could start working. And that's basically when I really made some money, until the point that I was like 29. I had a company in Curacao, because me and my family, we moved to Curacao, which is in the Caribbean. And I had an office in Netherlands, and I went back and forth. Then at one point, I thought about growing this into a bigger company, but it was hard to do that because you were very reliable on people and not just a product. And I always thought I wanted to have a product because I know that's better to sell, and I know you can make some real value with a product that could make some impact on society. And that's where Marnix, he joined us with the family in Curacao. And that's where we started the concept of what we are doing today.
So for me, the phase that Andre mentioned during his 25th year when he became a father, I had that a little bit earlier. I was my wife was pregnant when I was 19, so I was still studying, and became father at 20. So my thought was, okay, what should I do right now? I'm still studying. I'm studying music, which is already a difficult sector to make money in, and I also did that with Andre. So there was also a phase of where we were entrepreneurs in music, and we earned some money, but way not enough to pay rent or to pay mortgage or whatever. So after my study, I start working at my father's company, and during the same time, I also made a website for myself and for my father. And I thought, okay, why shouldn't I do this for others? And then I did some acquisition, and quite quickly I already got some customers, made some website, and then did an online marketing agency, which was not really a marketing agency, but I thought it was a marketing agency, and I earned some money with that. But later on, while working with my father, I started to transition to a paid company, and I was an employer at a recruitment company, which is called Tempo Team. And during that same time, working full time, I still had that online marketing agency, and wanted to work there full time, make some profit, and had some money on the bank so I can transition to a full time entrepreneur. And then I worked with Andre also at the same time in the recruitment business. I had some money in the bank, and I can say to the job, okay, I'm now quitting. I'm now working for myself. And so that was like, I think 6 years ago, approximately. Wow. And then I had the recruitment business for 3 years, and then sold it. And stories come together. We went to Curacao, and then the initial idea of Holoconnects came up. And then we started the business.
Yeah. So share with us. So you guys are coming up on close to 3 years. Holoconnects, tell us what it is, and tell us how you guys came up with the idea.
What Holoconnects is an amazing company, of course. It's a company that provides hologram as a service, which is new to the whole world. And what we're basically doing is trying to solve bigger global problems with holograms in some sort of way. And the hologram itself, it's a tool to create a bigger value, and that could be any kind of service.
Yeah, and I think that during the time that we started and developed the product that we have also in the background, of course, is that, okay, we did events and we did some things, and some companies bought the Holobox. And then they've asked us, okay, how can we implement it into our business, or how can we use it? Instead of only making content for them, we had the idea, okay, how can we bring this hologram box into a more like a service level? And that's why we transitioned to the idea of not only having a gimmick-ish product to a service and helpful and a more efficient making company product.
Yeah, so we initially started, and I think that's a great story. We initially started. We went both on Curacao. We had a dad in the family. And due to the death, we asked ourselves, what if we suddenly going to die? Can our children see us as a life-size person? And could they meet us after we died? And based around that question, we started to search a technology that could support this question. And then we found out that there was no technology at all that you could use in just a normal location in a small room, and you could see someone as a life-size person. And that's when we started to develop our own technology, which is the Holobox, which you see on the background, of course. And we got a lot of media traction because the initial idea was you make your hologram, you leave that for the eternity, for your children, grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren, 1,000 years from now, and it would be still there, and they could see you as a life-size person, and they could meet their grandfather, great-grandfather in a way that could not be done before. But then there wasn't any interest from people to really buy this technology or buy this service. Right. But we got a lot of interest from other companies. And one of those companies was the United Nations that called us and said, hey, can we use your technology to have our high officials being flew in from all around the world, but not by plane, but as a hologram? And of course, we said we could do that. We did not have the technology to do that, but we made it happen, of course. So we made that happen. And then based on that initial idea, we really started to pivoting into, hey, we could be a communication company. We could be a company providing companies to be anywhere in the world without having to fly. We could even be valuable to those sustainability goals and make use of this technology and reduce emissions. So we started to pivoting into the live connection side of the hologram business. And that's when we got in contact with Thomas, with CIC Hospitality, and they brought up the question, what if we could use this technology in our front of house services and have one employee from headquarters being called into several hotels so that our on-site staff members can do more important tasks, and that's building a relationship with our visitors. So that's basically the route from the initial concept to where we are today.
Yeah, and what's also interesting to mention is that we had a lot of concept thinking and also the reception side, which the idea was already born maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But we didn't know how and we didn't know what and with who we should work. And then we had an event. It was a hotel exhibition. And then we met also Thomas, I think, over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So how does this actually work? Like, we see that person walking behind you, Andre, they come up and talk for a little bit and then they walk away. So how does it work?
Yeah, well, in the basics, it is quite easy, the content creation, because we just use a normal 2D camera. And basically, if you shoot a person in front of a white background or even a white wall with a plexiglass plate on the ground, and we upload it inside the box, it will directly feel volumetric, and it will feel like someone is literally standing inside of a box. And that's because all the magic happens inside the box itself. Then I think Marnix can explain a little bit better how the box is built up.
It's making use of an LCD panel, which we make transparent. And we have an inner box, which is lit from all 5 sides. And we have, when you see the gray lines in the background, there are physical lines, which emphasize also the feeling of a real inside box and feeling of that you're standing inside a box. And that's one part of the big magic that's happening to make something feel like volumetric, like a volumetric person.
So I want to make sure I'm understanding this right. So you have an office somewhere and you're recording that person, they walk into that section and then that is projected directly to the hologram box. Is it pre-recorded or can it be live as well?
It can be both. So what you're seeing right now is pre-recorded, or you can. She can move now from the white background, so she will disappear. No, just joking around. But this is pre-recorded, and which we also do at Thomas Hotel CIC is pre-recorded video with a combination of videos behind the video, so you can push buttons on the touchscreen. It's also a touchscreen by this meaning, and you can switch also to live streaming. So the person can be a life-size person live streaming, and you can talk and interact with them.
Wow. So hypothetically, if a hotel does have a question, you could do the pre-recording at first, says welcome to XYZ Hotel, but if they need to speak to a front desk, you talk to a live person.
Yeah, so you can be more efficient if you have like common questions inside your hotel, which take a lot of time or take some personnel, time from personnel. You can make it more efficient by tackling those questions with pre-recorded videos. And then if there's not a question that could be answered by pre-recorded video, it's like an uncommon question. You can click on the live reception host and they can switch to the live reception. So yeah, you can make it more efficient with this. Yeah.
Yeah. So how it works within the Eden Hotel, the first installation we did with Thomas, is that somebody steps into the hotel. They step in some sort of activation zone through a remote sensor. The person is being detected, and then automatically the welcomes video will start, and that video will say, "Hey, welcome to Hotel Eden. How can I help you?" And then it fades out. You see a couple of buttons. One button is "I want to check in," and then if you click on that button, you see another video that says you can check in on your left side. If you have some questions, just please press the button, call a live Eden host. And then when you press the button, call a live Eden host, we will get a request at headquarters and they can step in, and like a couple of seconds later, you have a live connection running. Yeah, it's basically like a Zoom call, but you can see the person, the employee, the receptionist as a life-size hologram. And then you can wrap up the questions they have, answer them correctly, and then go on to the next request, which can come from 10 or 20 other hotels.
Yeah.
So you guys are working with companies like T-Mobile, Deloitte, PlayStation. Outside of CIC, what's the most exciting thing that you're working on right now? If you can tell us, that would be great.
We are working on some very, very exciting projects, but unfortunately cannot tell you too much about it. But I think one great project, and we just had an article about that online. We're working with the government in the Middle East, and which is a project for embassies and banks. It's a very big project, and I think that can create some real impact within that sector as well.
Yeah, I think working with UN is always something special.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Working with the United Nations, it's like we can make some real impact with the United Nations behind us. So I think that's a great project. And the other ones, we need to keep them for ourselves because
all
under NDA.
We gotta ask.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a long-term future for Holoconnects? Is this like on your roadmap for 5 years down the road? Is this a first step, and then you have something next coming? What's Holoconnect going to be in 5 years?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think in 5 years we have some substantial installations within hotel sector itself, but then also office buildings, hospitals, all around the hologram as a service concept. I think in 5 years, we probably have an update in the technology itself. I hope that we, by that time, have a full hologram floating in the air without even having a box there. I don't think it's really realistic to have it in 5 years. I think that would be more on the roadmap for 10 years, but ideally that would be in 5 years. And then I do think that the whole AI wave that is going on right now, which of course is a little bit discussable right now, but I do think that it could have some substantial value in automizing a pre-recorded hologram, and that you could ask questions to that hologram and he or she can answer them due to the whole OpenAI and ChatGPT technology behind it. And that we maybe can make it more efficient for the hoteliers itself.
Awesome. Honestly, the first thing I thought of, you guys were on the same age, Back to the Future, when they have the Jaws in the movie theater and he comes out from the top of the movie theater and bites Marty McFly. That's what I see you guys doing at the future. You guys are going to be, that's going to be your company, Back to the Future.
Sharks, but maybe with residents we do.
Maybe hey, who knows? Maybe sharks.
Maybe Shark Tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah. I mean, that was really just a great overview for Holoconnects, especially for people who might not be that familiar. But, now I want to tie this into how this is affecting the hotel industry. We talked to Thomas from CIC. He had great things to say, but what benefits are you seeing? Is this from Holoconnects being in the hotel industry, and is the CIC hospitality? Are they the first group you're working with? Is there plans to expand more into this industry?
Yes, yeah, definitely. So we have one group in Amsterdam as well that's already deploying 3 hotels.
Yeah.
One with a small box because these hotels are all under the 50 rooms and they are digitalizing everything. So from opening the door to generating the keys to scanning the passports to then having a holographic employee, everything is being done remotely. And especially within this type of surroundings, I think it has a great value because you are going to digitalize everything, but you don't lose the human touch and the hospitality side of the business. And I think that's a big going forward in comparison to the existing check-in kiosks where you maybe have a person with a face saying, "Hey, welcome," or just a vocal,
Or not even,
not even. Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's a big leap forward. Then, of course, with CIC, we're going to integrate to 30 hotels within the next years. But there are already some big chains which are showing great interest in this product. But the lead times for that, they are quite long because it's going to be for quite a big installations.
So you guys have kind of you touched on this, my question, but so are you focused on hotels? Do you have like a dedicated salesperson, and do you think that you've gotten some interest? You have CIC. Do you think this is something that you're talking about 30 hotels, other groups? Do you see yourself maybe end of 2024 being in 1,000 hotels or something of that nature, or is that too aggressive?
Yeah, well, the goal this year would be 50 hotels. Next year it's 400, and the year after that we are looking at 1,000 to 2,000 hotels. That's the aim for the next years, and definitely because the way we now deploy these technologies is so sustainable that we do think that this is going to be where Holoconnects will be in the next couple of years. So probably 70 to 80% of our business will be focused on manning receptions with live holograms. And that would not only be hotels, but also, like I said, shopping malls, hospitals, office buildings. But this concept is definitely going to be our main focus. Yep. And I think within hospitality itself, we are now building a team, especially for hospitality. So we're building a sales team in Europe and a sales team in the US, because we do think that this is the time to integrate this within the hospitality sector itself. And it all is a result of course, the pandemic, where the whole hotel sector got to the point that they know that they need to scale down on their operational cost and maybe rethink their operational model. And I won't say that we will completely replace the human side of it, but I do think that this, alongside the already human employees on site, can make it even more efficient to those companies and to those chains. And it could open doors that not been opened before.
And I'm going to kind of go off that. If your comment right there, what do you say to those hotels that are nervous to implement this type of technology, that want that, what if it malfunctions, and, thinks of more of all the bad things that can happen before of all the good it can bring? What do you say to those types of hotels that are nervous to start this process?
I say, well, I completely understand that. And probably you should be a little bit nervous because all new things are quite exciting and maybe you need to be a little bit nervous about it. But then what we always do is that we start a pilot period with just 1, 2, or 3 locations. Then that will speak for itself, because once we do a pilot period for a couple of months, 95% will go through and they really, really like it. So yeah, that would always be the first step. Like, let's do a pilot period. Let's see how your audience is reacting to this technology. And let's see how we need to structure this technology in your organization, because it really varies from hotel to hotel, chain to chain, how they use this technology. For example, we also have a hotel group that's going to use it only with pre-recorded content, not even the live connection itself, but they're going to use it during the check-in procedures, that the GM has a welcomes message, which is pre-recorded. Then in midday, they are going to move the box internally to the bar. During lunch, there is a saxophonist that's going to play a little bit of music. And then in the evening, there may be a DJ in the club itself. So they're going to use it on a whole different way than CIC is going to use it. But also, if you're going to deploy it like that, it really has some nostalgia value, because the customer experience will be high-end by then.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this one is for Marnix. I want to ask you, What advice would you give to someone who's starting their own business? Something you've learned that you would say, make sure you do the following.
Wow, good question. What I should advise is that first of all, believe in yourself. That's one thing. And I'm having conversation, of course, with people that want to be an entrepreneur or want to do something for themselves, and they're only having the thoughts of, okay, this is my idea, and this is what I can do, and this is what I need to do. But just do it. Yeah, just do it, and you will fall, and you will get up. And if you fall 99 times, if you get up 100 times, you will succeed that one. So just do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, everyone says it, and it seems cliche, but that you sometimes learn more from your failures.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, sometimes it's just doing it, having an issue, failing, and then kind of coming back and getting it right the second time. So good advice.
I think also getting the right people beside you. You cannot do anything by yourself, and that's what Andre and I also speak a lot of times about. Is the value of a great team is priceless, and getting the right people at the right place that will make the job work and done.
So I'm gonna mix in one kind of surprise question. Sorry, Steve, but so for both you. Give the audience one word that describes the other person.
Yes.
So, Andre, give us one word for Marnix and vice versa. One word that describes him.
Perfectionist.
Good. Ambitious.
Wow.
Excellent.
That was great. How did you guys know you wanted to work with each other? Because you guys just vibe very well. And it seems like you guys just have great energies back and forth.
Yeah, we're brothers, so
we don't want to work together. No, that's a question. No. I think, of course, because we're basically we're very good friends. Then we are family. Now we're business partners.
Yeah.
They always ask, isn't that hard? Because it's a very thin line between if the business can take the overhand on the private level, and that can affect the private relationship as well. So we were musicians together. Then we tried another company together that failed. That made us having quite a bit of a fight. Which almost ended our private relationship as well. Yeah. But that was
but it's still ongoing. So
no, but I think that point that we said to each other, okay, now we're going to forget all the business side of it, because
there's more than that.
There's more than that, and we're going to stick it to our private relationship because that's number one priority in whatever we are doing. I think that was the basis for the fact that we won't never ever go to that position again and be in the same situation as where we were there. And that we now completely trust each other, and that we know where our limits are, and we respect our boundaries. And I think that really is the basis of the success.
I think
that's the fundament.
The start of the relationship was of course the fundament, but I think the bigger collision, if I can say it like that, was also a fundament of this company. And I had a dream always to make a big company with alongside with my friends and maybe also with my family, and that's now going on. So my wife is in the business, his wife is in the business, our greatest friends are in the business, his father-in-law is in the business. So it's a family company. I think it is riskful. But if you communicate with each other and if you are open with each other, everything will go in the right direction. And I think you will fight a little bit more than when you work for a normal job, if I say it like this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys coming on. Now we're actually moving to our last segment. Our producer, John, has been listening this whole time. He's, I don't know, John, you got some questions that you have from listening like a fly on the wall?
Yeah. So I'm a fellow musician, artist myself. And so that background that you guys have really intrigues me. Also going from playing in a band, not making enough to support a family, and then starting a business, we have that in common. So I'm wondering, first off, what kind of music did you guys play together?
We made hip hop music. I was producer and rapper, and Andre was rapping also.
Yeah.
Dope. Well, and so that whole thing and the creative energy with that, and then how do you think that impacts like the entrepreneurial thing or the starting a business?
Yeah. So when you start something like this, like a musician band or hip hop band, what kind of label you want to hang on it, but you're being in a like a funnel, or like your studio is like your bubble. And when you make music, you're really proud at that moment, and also later on, of course. Can be better days and can be worse days, of course, in producing. But at some point you want to make people listen to your music, and then you need to think about how can we bring it to the people, how can we market it, how can we go to get live performances, can we get it to YouTube, or can we get it to Spotify? So you need to think about those business questions also. And I think Andre was already more into that than I was, because I was also producing, so I was more the creative brain into the music type. And I think Andre was more business minded, so he thought about more the marketing stuff and how can we sell it, and just calling also to different types of venues. Can we do a pre-show? How do you say it? For the bigger concert, just a show before the concert. Can we do that just for free, or for just a little bit of money?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I do think that period was the fundament of the creativity that we need to have, or we needed to have in the business after that.
With a lot with no money. So you think more creativity comes with no money.
Yeah. And I always think about that period as was really fundamental in thinking outside the box, trying to think about concepts. Because if you're an artist, you're always thinking, okay, what kind of concept am I going to write now on what instrumental? I think that really made you think in a different way. Mm-hmm. And then what I also think is that being on a stage and then talking to the audience and playing with the audience and see what works and see what doesn't work is also fundamental for me in terms of I'm mainly responsible for sales and for business development. And then if you're in a conversation with someone or with people or doing a presentation, you're just playing with the audience itself. And I think being an artist was fundamental in how I do those things right now. Yeah. I would suggest everybody to just first
make music.
Make music and then do all the rest.
Agreed. Maybe it's not, I could play tambourine. That's about it.
I know that for sure.
But we got auto tune, so everybody can sing right now. So,
but interesting. What kind of music did you play?
What do you do?
Like alternative rock.
Alternative rock. Nice. You play the instrument, or you singing?
Guitar.
Nice.
And still performing, or is that out of the question now?
My daughter was born 18 months ago, so not in the last 2 years, but we're still writing music.
Yeah, nice. Just also just keep in mind, just make music. If you love it, just do it, because if it eases your mind and you get it to another universum. So it's also good to do some relaxation in that. So,
all right, thanks, John. So, guys, that brings us to.
I have one more question. Sorry, David. Okay. Is there a song that you guys have made that we should play during the outro of the podcast?
No. No, I think we can do an instrumental.
Sounds good.
Be careful, because if there's anything online, Steve will find it and just pick his own and plug it in.
You will find it, I think. You will find it, yeah. We were like 18 or something like that.
I think we were 18. We were like street credibility rappers.
Without having street credibility.
Exactly. So no, I don't think that's fittable for now. No.
Next time.
Thank you for the question.
All right, guys. Well, that does it for another episode of The Modern Hotelier. At this point, let us know how we can find out more information, how people can reach you. Plug away. Give us some information.
Yeah, so go to the website, www.holoconnects.com, and go to our LinkedIn page, also Holoconnects, and you can go to my page, Marnix Lok, at LinkedIn, and Andre Smith with TH
as well.
Yeah. And follow us on Instagram also. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you very much, guys. That does it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. It was great being here.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
us.
That does it for the Modern Hotelier. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
This episode is sponsored by Growth Advisors International Network, the leading travel and hospitality innovation and growth advisory firm. GAIN is a global collective of seasoned C-level commercial, tech, operations, finance, and marketing executives, delivering an advisory platform focused on tactical and actionable solutions to drive growth, industry impact, and intelligent commercial expansion for the travel, food service, and hospitality tech industry. From technology and product development reviews, commercial strategy and brand positioning, to sales leadership and international go-to-market advisory, GAIN provides a range of managed C-level advisory services and expertise to tech vendors, investor funds, and hospitality entities, and helps startups and scale-ups in attaining commercial momentum and the capital for their seed to series rounds and exits. For more information and to contact GAIN Advisors, head to gainadvisors.com.
You made it to the end of The Modern Hotelier. Thanks for listening. The Modern Hotelier is produced by Make More Media. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, or follow wherever you get your podcasts. If you know of a guest or sponsor that would be a good fit, feel free to email us at hello@themodernhotelier.com. Thanks and have a great day.